everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Sayyaba Farhat. I hope you are having a good day. So in our previous tutorial we learned about installing and downloading Prolog and Sublime text into your systems, and in the other video I told you how you can connect Sublime text with Prolog. So the agenda of today's session is to learn about facts in Prolog. After that we are going to see what are variables in Prolog. Once we are done with facts and variables, we are going to define some rules in Prolog, and after that we are going to see how we can execute some of queries in Prolog. So let's get started. As we have discussed earlier that anything we say is a sentence and it supports our discussion with someone. So if I say the sun sets in the west, that is a sentence as well as a fact. So whenever we are going to define the daytime, it's a day if we can see sun outside. It's a night time if the moon is outside. So we are supporting our sentences with facts. Similarly, when we are going to program in Prolog, we write facts in our Prolog language. So for the examples, I'm going to mention some of the sentences over here, and after that we are going to convert those sentences into facts. For example, I'm going to write here Fred. Fred is let's suppose a pet. Fred eats meat. That is a sentence. For the next sentence, I'm going to write Betty eats meat. Betty eats vegetables. Valema eats meat, and Valema eats vegetable. So these are few of the sentences over here. Now if we want to convert these sentences into facts of Prolog, how we can do that? So look at these sentences carefully. We have few of the objects, and then we have some predicates. Predicates reflect features, properties for any object. For example, over here, Fred eats meat. Eating is a feature, that's a predicate, and Fred eats what? Fred eats meat. Meat is also an object for us. So whenever we are going to represent a fact, what we need to do is we are going to take this sentence and going to convert this sentence into a fact. How we do that? Convert this sentence into a fact in Prolog. What you need to do is you need to mention the predicate first. For example, here eats is the predicate that is reflecting a feature of Fred, that Fred eats meat. So I have written eats first over here. Then you need to mention a pair of bracket, and inside the pair of bracket you need to write what? Objects. For example, I need to write the Fred first because Fred eats meat. So I'm going to mention Fred first. Then after that I need to mention comma, and then I'm going to write meat. So at the end of this fact, we need to mention a full stop. Full stop will declare our sentence as a complete fact. So what I have mentioned over here, I have mentioned Fred eats meat. Similarly, we are going to write the second sentence into a fact, and how we are going to do is eats Betty meat. The other sentence is eats Betty, comma, vegetable, and at the end of it, full stop. Now you need to remember one thing: whenever you are going to write any predicate or object, all the letters must be lowercase letters. You need to use the lowercase letters when you are writing predicates or object. Okay, if you are going to mention object names with a capital letter, then the capital letter means something else in Prolog. So the next sentence is eats Velima meat eats Velima vegetables. So here we are done with all the sentences where we have two objects and one predicate. What about if we have just one object and one predicate in a sentence? For example, Fred is fat. Now we are saying that Fred is fat, one predicate and one object we have. So what we are going to do is we are going to write fat outside of the brackets, and in the inside the parenthesis we're going to write Fred. So this is the example where we have one predicate and one object. So what are the variables? Whenever you are going to mention some of the variables in Prolog, we mention variables with a capital letter. In Prolog, we declare variables with a capital letter. So how we use variables, how we declare variables in Prolog. So let's go to the sublime text and Prolog, and we are going to see how we can use variables in Prolog. So here we are in sublime text and Prolog. What I'm going to do is I'm going to write all the facts which I mentioned earlier, and we are going to see how we can call these facts into Prolog as well. So I'm going to write eats Fred, comma, meat. At the end of the fact, we need to mention a full stop, which is going to tell Prolog that we have completed defining first fact. So for right now, I have mentioned 5 of the facts in Prolog. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to call all these facts into Prolog to see whether my file is running fine in Prolog or not. I'm going to copy the path so I can call this file into my Prolog. Okay, now it's returning us a true. That means our file is being reloaded over here. Now we are going to test some of the facts. So I'm going to write eats Fred meat. We have mentioned this fact into sublime text. Now I'm going to check whether my machine is working fine or not, and it's going to return us true. That means that yes, Fred eats meat. So we need to test it again for a different value. Eats Fred fries. We haven't mentioned this fact, so when we are going to press enter, it is going to return us a false. So now I am going to mention some of the variables. We are going to declare some of the variables over here. How we can declare variables? What are the variables? So now I need to see which are the pets who likes to eat vegetables. Okay, I need to see all the pets which eats vegetables. So how we can do that? I am going to mention a capital X over here, comma, I'm going to write vegetables and close this parenthesis, mention a full stop and press enter. Now you can see the X is now representing all the pets who likes to eat vegetables, and you might be noticing that we are not going to get the next line, the question mark over here, because there are more animals, more pets which like to eat vegetables. So here I am going to press semicolon, and after the semicolon we can see Velima as well. Now you can see the cursor is blinking again with the question mark. That means that these are the only pets which like to eat vegetable. Now what just happened here is I mentioned a capital letter over here, which is a variable. Now this variable is going to contain all the pet names which likes to eat vegetables. Now similarly, again I'm going to mention an example over here, eats y comma meat. Now this y variable is going to contain all the names for the pets who eats meat. So I'm going to press enter. we got a Fred over here. If you are going to press a full stop over here, then you are not going to see any other pet's name. But if you want to see further animals who eat meat, then you need to press a semicolon over here. Again, I'm going to press a semicolon, and now we see a cursor blinking with the question mark. That means these are the only pets which were mentioned in our facts file, and we are done displaying all these things. So now if you want to see a further thing using the variable, then you need to remember one thing. Whenever you need to declare a variable, you need to start it with a capital letter. Okay, the capital letter and the capital word represents a variable name. You all objects and your predicates always starts with a lowercase or small letter. So here we are done with the variables. Now we are going to define some of the rules. So the variables always start with a capital letter. What are the rules? We are going to define some of the rules for pets. For example, we are going to say that some of the animals are carnivores and some of the animals are or pets are omnivores. What is the difference between these two? Carnivores are the animals which likes to eat only meat, and omnivores are the animals which eats meat as well as the vegetables. So we are going to use some of the operators here now. So what are the operators, and what is a horn clause? Okay, in C or C++, what we do is in C++, and Java, we use if statements, we use and operator, we use or operator, and particularly in C++ or C, we use this symbol for and this symbol for or operator. Now in Prolog, how we do that? In Prolog, for if statement, we are going to use horn clause, which is represented by this. Just concentrate over here. We are saying that in C++ for if statement we write if, but in Prolog, whenever we are going to declare an if clause, if statement, we are going to use this clause. Okay, this is going to represent a if statement in Prolog. So for and operator in Prolog, we are going to use a comma. A comma in Prolog represents and operator, and in Prolog for or operator we are going to use a semicolon. So these are the operators in Prolog which we are going to use in declaring some of the rules. So these are operators in Prolog. So how we are going to declare these two rules now? I'm going to say that carnivores, a pet, an animal, I'm going to represent it with a variable. Any animal is a carnivore if and only if it eats, who eats? That X animal eats meat. Okay, and at the end of the rule we are going to mention a full stop. Now try to understand it again. We are saying any pet, any animal X is a carnivore if and only if this particular animal eats meat. So any pet, any animal which eats meat, that is a carnivore. So what about the omnivore? Any animal X is an omnivore if and only if it eats vegetable. We need to mention X over here as well, because we are going to declare that fact for that animal. And a comma represents and an. Okay, and we are going to write here eats meat, comma, full stop. So we have mentioned a rule over here For carnivore, we have said that a pet is a carnivore only and only if that particular animal eats meat. Who are omnivores? Omnivores are the animals who eat vegetables and who eats meat. So these are two of our rules. We have declared some of the rules. Now I'm going to go into Sublime and Prolog, and we are going to mention these rules over here. So here we are. I'm going to write these two rules now. Carnivore. Any animal X is a carnivore only and only if eats that animal meat. Alright, a full stop. That is our first rule. And the second rule is for omnivore. For omnivore, we are going to mention that any animal, any pet is a omnivore only and only if it eats vegetable and comma represents and operator and eats meat. Full stop. Now we have mentioned two of the rules over here. I'm going to mention one more rule over here. I'm going to say food is something eats which X eats. Okay, what I have said is Y is food only and only if it is eaten by an X. Okay, so Y is a food item. Whenever we are writing some of the rules, we are mentioning the food items after mentioning the object X. So these are the food items. Now I'm in the Prolog again. Now what we are going to do is I'm going to write over here. I'm going to check whether my rule is working or not here. I'm going to see that whether Fred is an omnivore or he is a carnivore. So I'm going to write here carnivore, and I'm going to mention Fred over here. At the end of the query, we need to write a full stop because we need to tell our Prolog that our query or the fact is complete. It's returning us a true because Fred is a carnivore. So that's it. Now I'm going to ask about Betty. I'm going to write omnivore Betty. So full stop, and yes, Betty is an omnivore. So now I'm going to see all the food items from our list. So what we are going to see is we have 5 facts over here, and I need to display all the food items that are mentioned in these facts. So what I need to do is I need to write food. After food, I need to mention any variable over here. I need to mention any variable that must be starting from a capital letter. So I'm going to write thing. When I started this word with a capital letter, then Prolog understand that's a variable. Now it is going to assign the variable all the names of the food items one by one. After full stop, I am going to press enter. Now you can see thing is equal to meat. What Prolog did is Prolog read the first statement, and from this statement he assigned me to the variable thing. Now I'm going to mention a semicolon over here because I need to see the next food item. In next sentence we again have the meat food item. Now I'm going to press a semicolon again. So in vegetable in the third statement, so we can see vegetables over here. Now I'm going to press a semicolon again. We can see a meat, then vegetable, and now we are seeing a question mark over here. So that's how you can declare facts, variables. You can use conjunctions and an or operator, if statement, which is called horn clause in Prolog. Then you can write some of the rules in sublime text and Prolog, and you can execute the queries. So that's all for today. I hope you like the video, and if you want to watch upcoming videos, then like my video, subscribe my channel, and share it with your friends. Bye bye.